Review of two-step equations. So a two-step equation can look like many different things. Usually it has a number in front of x, then it has another number either added or subtracted, and it equals one last number. We could write this in a lot of different ways though, and they're all the same thing. I could write 7 equals 2x plus 1. I could write 1 plus 2x equals 7. I could write 7 equals 1 plus 2x. These are all the same exact equation. Typically I'm going to write them like this, just because it's a little bit easier to see the process, but you know how to solve all three of these as well. It would be the same process. So let's do that for this example. The first step is to subtract 1 from both sides of the equation. I'm trying to get this x term alone. Okay? Essentially what I'm doing is reversing my order of operations. So if I subtract 1 here, I get 2x. 1 minus 1 is 0. 7 minus 1 is 6. I could solve this the same way. Subtract 1 from both sides. 7 minus 1 is 6. And 1 minus 1 is still 0. I could solve this the same way. Subtract 1 from both sides. 2x equals 6. Right? This is kind of crammed. And I could solve this one the same way. Subtract 1, 6 equals 2x. So now I only really have two equations. These ones both say 6 equals 2x. These ones both say 2x equals 6. 2x equals 6, or 6 equals 2x. These are the same thing, and I would solve these two in the same way from here. I would divide by 2, which is my coefficient on x. This is going to cancel off, leaving x. 6 divided by 2 is 3. 6 divided by 2 is 3. These are going to cancel out. Either way, I get x equals 3, 3 equals x. Same thing. So all four of these problems I solved in the same way. Let's take a look back at how I did that. Why I made the choices that I made. But let's look at a slightly different problem. Let's say we had 3x plus 2 equals 11. All right. My goal when I'm solving two-step equations, if they tell me solve for x, my goal is to get x all alone on one side of the equation. Right now, I have a 3 and 2 in the way. I have 3 times x plus 2 equals 11. The first thing I'm going to get rid of is this 2 over here. Right? I'm going to get rid of the thing that's in the way of the x term. So here's my x term, 3x. I'm going to get rid of this 2 over here. The opposite of plus 2 is minus 2. So when I subtract 2 from both sides, I end up with 3x plus 2 minus 2, which is 3x. 11 minus 2, which is 9. Remember, when you do this, your goal is to get rid of the 2. So if you end up with a number here added or subtracted from x, you're probably better off erasing and going back to where you started. Okay, I'm not sure if that recorded. There was a little glitch there.
That was a quick video though.
We're not quite done. 3x equals 9. So to get the x alone, I divide both sides by 3. X equals 9 divided by 3, which is 3. Okay. Let's try something else. 4x plus 15 equals negative 1. This is what you'll see on your homework tonight. Our problem's a little bit more complicated because they're going to have negatives. And you're going to be adding and subtracting negative numbers. You're going to be dividing by negative numbers. Yeah.
I kind of just went ahead on this problem to think about it. Would that equal it? Would the final answer be a negative?
Well, let's see. What am I going to do as my first step here to solve this? Yeah. Subtract 15 from those. Why did you decide to do that first?
Because you want to have the 4x left because that will be easier to divide.
It'll be easier to work with the 4x. Exactly. Okay. 4x plus 15 minus 15 is
0.
4x plus 0, sure.
Yeah, 0.
What is negative 1 minus 15? Yeah?
That is either positive 14 or negative 14. Or
Negative 16. This is the same thing as negative 1 plus negative 15. Right? Negative 1 minus 15 is negative 1 plus negative 15. Two negative numbers combining together are going to give me a larger negative number.
Okay, I got confused.
Now I need to get x alone, but there's a 4 in the way. What does 4x mean? 4 times x. What's the opposite of times? Division. Right? Divided by. 4x divided by 4 is x. Negative 16 divided by 4 is
Negative 4.
negative 4. And that's my final answer.